The Illinois House passed a bill today creating and extending incentives that lawmakers hope will attract businesses and create jobs. The bill would extend the state's research and development tax credit through 2031. The bill would also create a tax credit and quantum computing campus and extend the EDGE tax credit. Opponents think the incentives are unfair to most taxpayers.
This bill puts us in the best possible position to bring Illinois into a leadership role and attract new economy jobs and new investments.
The reality is all of these things only go to big business, large corporations. And the small businesses and the individuals in the state of Illinois are left to foot the bill.
The bill now heads to the state Senate.